What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the absolutely greatest stream on the internet. There's no stream like it. It is absolutely the best one. And yeah, I challenge you to prove me wrong. What's going on, guys? Mo Duds, bro. What up, bro? 1 a.m. where you're at? Where are you at? Where's it 1 a.m. at? Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Y'all ready to get this thing going? We actually had a semi kind of good thing happen today. What up, bro? One love. Yeah, one love. Most definitely. Where's it 1 a.m. at? Preston. Oh, fancy. Yeah, well, it's 7 p.m. Central here in 7 p.m. Central here in the great state of Minnesota. Don't you know? What up, Shiganin? Alaska. All right, good to see. Good to see the mods made it. Mods are in attendance. From Brooklyn. Oh, where Brooklyn at? But yeah, yeah, big news day today. Had all kinds of craziness going on. Marjorie Taylor Greene madness. We had some crazy QAnon bloodthirsty psychos running around on the internet. Some lies about AOC. Really funny story about Tommy Tuberville. It's 1 a.m. where Paul's at too. Yeah, Paul's international too. I don't know. I have a lot of international support for some reason. I don't know. Dude, it shows you how mainstream QAnon has gotten. They're everywhere. But yeah, everybody's piling in here. All right, let me check. Make sure Twitch is all set up here, all nice and ready to go. AZ represent. Oh, we got AZ in the house. AZ in Brooklyn. We are all over the map around here. Yeah, Paul's in Ireland. I knew that. All right. Well, yeah. So we without further ado, let's get to the reason we're all here. Or some of the reason some of us are here anyway. So, we got to start with the vote just came down, and for some reason, I don't know why, but more people voted to keep Marjorie Taylor Greene in her committees than people voted to keep Liz Cheney in leadership, which I'm not the biggest fan of Liz Cheney. In fact, I'm not a fan of at all. But I mean, even on a bad day, she's better than Marjorie Taylor Greene. But only these 11 people who I've never heard of are the ones that voted against Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, actually, I thought Adam. Yeah, there he is. I only knew Adam Kissinger because he's been on TV a couple times recently. Yeah, Q's everywhere. That's the thing. Yeah, Q even in rural Ireland. It's in Germany. I've had people message me from all over. One of my patrons, Gabby, I can't remember where he's from, but he's from somewhere way across the pond. That because he can never make the live stream because it's always like 5 a.m. there. But yeah, these 11 people I've never heard of are the ones that voted against Marjorie Taylor Greene. And yeah, it came down 199 to 219 or whatever, or 230 to 199 was the final vote. And this is a little bit of what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say for herself today, which the bar's pretty goddamn low. So it wasn't hard to top what she'd already done.
Recognizes the gentlewoman from Georgia for 10 minutes.
I never once said during my entire campaign, QAnon. I never once said any of the things.
Well, that's just a horseshit cop-out, right? Like, you don't have to say QAnon. You can, in fact, QAnon doesn't even want you to say QAnon. They want you to use coded language. That's kind of the whole thing. Ever since it got popular, Q even mentioned in the drops to use coded language. He doesn't want you to say QAnon outright. That's part of their, their secrecy club. So I don't want to hear that because you didn't say the word QAnon that you didn't push the theories. This was like the worst attempt at an apology or owning up to what you said that I've ever seen in my life. It was absolutely ridiculous.
That I am being accused of today during my campaign. I never said any of these things since I have been elected for Congress. These were words of the past, and these things do not represent me. They do not represent my...
They were things I said, but they don't represent what I think. I mean, this wasn't like, you weren't in high school, lady. This was like last year. Well, actually, it was like 2 months ago. You were trying to impeach Biden a week ago.
My district, and they do not represent my values. And if this Congress is to tolerate members that condone riots that have hurt American people, attacked police officers,
Nobody did
occupied
that.
federal property, burned businesses and cities, but yet wants to condemn me and crucify me in the public square for words that I said and I regret a few years ago, then I think we are in a real big problem, a very big problem.
The gentlewoman's time.
Again, nobody ever condoned riots. You idiots twisted a bunch of words around and tried to pretend like people condoned riots. You had to lie about Kamala Harris and AOC and Ilhan Omar, whose speech I watched in Minnesota when she actually called out, said, hey, this is bad for the movement. We don't need to be burning buildings. This is our city. We don't need to do this to our own city. I watched her say that, but then you guys turn around and say, oh, they're promoting the looting and the rioting. Because no, they were talking about protests, and they made that distinction very clear. You, on the other hand, are talking about Jewish space lasers and wanting to put a bullet in Nancy Pelosi's head and a laundry list of other things that it would take me all stream. But yeah, sure. Don't own up to your what you did. Just point the finger in the other direction, because that tactic was around long before you, unfortunately, in the GOP. But that's a little bit of what she said. Some of my other. Oh, and then this was. I tweeted this out. I was like, man, the bar is pretty damn low.
And this is.
Hold on.
This is interesting because you hear from a lot of members in the Republican Party saying, who am I to say what the constituents want?
Right.
That's why we have elections every 2 years. Then you ask, did she say something so egregious that there should be action against her?
Yes.
And when she spoke today, and folks, we don't have that, but I was watching it, and she was very compelling. She said 9/11 definitely happened because she was credited as saying,
oh, well, fuck. Guys, she said, yeah. Bravo. She said 9/11 actually happened. I mean, give her a standing ovation. What are we waiting on? Make her fucking committee chair. Let's put her in leadership. Why don't you? She said 9/11 happened. Man, fucking what a low bar. I mean, even for Newsmax, guys. I mean, come on. That was compelling. That's what you found compelling.
She said that she had looked on some sites years ago, not trusting the kind of information the government was providing, and had liked something or said some things.
Spotto177, thank you for the follow. Very much appreciated.
But gave her story, and that she represents her constituents in Georgia.
I guess.
I thought it was very compelling. I think anybody, but it apparently didn't change any votes because it came just completely along party lines.
And now there have been.
Well, yeah, because one party thinks that just saying 9/11 happened, and that's the thing. She said 9/11 happened, but that's not the conspiracy she was pushing. The conspiracy she was pushing is that a plane didn't crash into the Pentagon. Just saying 9/11 happened is not denouncing that part of the conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? Like, she can still be a 9/11 truther and believe it happened. So she was very careful to not piss off that side of the base. She said, I never said QAnon. She didn't say I denounce QAnon. she said, oh, I believe 9/11 happened. She didn't say, oh, well, I believe a plane actually flew into the Pentagon. So she completely danced around the things that she had done in the past. So, and then she just blamed the left, and and then she started talking about abortions and how those are, against God. And then she compared QAnon. She said QAnon and the media were the same thing. Ridiculous, just ridiculous shit like that. So I don't know. Anybody that watched that and was like, yeah, no, that did it for me. I believe her. I trust in her now. I wonder how much shit they're taking from the rest of the GOP. The only people they're taking shit from is the money. They're taking the corporate wing of the GOP is going to get hurt the most from this. Marjorie Taylor Greene's actually going to benefit from this. She's raised a ton of money because they love this shit, because they see it as pushing back against the mainstream media, and they're trying to censor you, and they get off on that stuff. They think the more you try to call them out, that you're just trying to censor them, and if you're trying to censor them, that means they're speaking the truth. So she's going to make a killing off of this. But the corporate wing of the GOP, the Mercer family, the people like that, they're the ones that are going to lose out. Or the ones that rely on those people, I should say, are going to lose out, because big corporation money, Koch brothers money, people in high society money aren't going to want to put their money behind conspiracy candidates, because as much as they love their tax cuts, as much as they love their tax cuts, they love being in polite society more. They have plenty of money, but they want their status. And if they're putting money behind people that say, Hillary Clinton eats babies, makes people frown at you a little bit, but it's that's now. In 2 years, who knows? Hear the trepidation, yeah. Yeah, ask her about Sandy Hook, yeah. Just saying that should get you expelled. Anything around that. I could understand maybe one. I'll give you one. If it was like one liked post, because a couple of them were just like she liked posts on Facebook. Like, I'll give you one. Okay, that was maybe a social media manager or something, which that's really weird. But okay, I'll give you one. But, 17 seems a little sus. What do I know, though, right? But then there was a lot of good. Ask her if fuel melts steel. Yeah, jet fuel. That was always the 9/11 thing. And we got some interesting clips from some of the Democrats. And then there are some other good clips from Republicans too. Steny Hoyer kind of snapped. He went off. Here, just for a second.
I heard about motherhood today. 2 of those women, between them, have 6 children. They're mothers. One of them does not have children. And she's come to this body asking for more housing for people, for more health care for people, for more income for people.
You get a notification? What the?
And they're not.
These notifications are making me salty.
They're Ilan. They're Alexandria. And they're Rashida. They are people. They are our colleagues. And yes, you may have disagreements. But I don't know anybody, including Steve King, who you precluded from going on committees, for much less. And this is an AR-15 in the hands of Ms. Greene. This was on Facebook just a few months ago.
Again, I know I've probably brought this up before or made this comparison before, But just imagine if that was on the other side. Say that was Trump, McCarthy, and I don't know, Steve Scalise on the other side there. And on this side was Ilhan Omar. Just imagine if that was the thing that she put on Facebook. Like, it would get banned immediately and she would be deported. Like, instantly. She made a tweet all about the Benjamins and they called her an anti-Semite when she was simply calling out a lobbying group, which I don't care, black, white, Cuban, Asian, what you are. Lobbying is bad for the country, and that's what she was calling out.
That is a message of peace and reconciliation and peaceful democratic dialogue. The squad's worst enemy, AR-15, in hand.
Sounds like the guns I fled.
I have never, ever seen that before.
True. I mean, even Steny Hoyer is better than, I mean, Steny Hoyer is an old 105-year-old corporate shill, but I mean, at least he's a human being. And then who else do we have? Well, but okay, I know. We had a couple winners from Democrats, or from Republicans, I mean. This guy, I don't know what the fuck he's trying to say here.
If my Democrat colleagues are attempting to take the speck out of their eye, I encourage them to also take the log out of their own eye. Out of our eye, then take the speck, take the log out of their own eye. Thank you. If my Democrat colleagues are attempting to take the speck out of their eye, I encourage them to also take the log out of their own eye. Out of our eye, then take the speck, take the log out of their own eye. Thank you.
Does anybody know what the fuck that guy is trying to say? Because I watched that like 10 times earlier and I still don't understand. Something about a speck and a log. It sounds like half of a sea shanty or something. Janet Ossebar. No, why are we talking about her? Spirits are, yeah. Yeah. What do you mentioned me in a TikTok. Then you had Jim Jordan, of course. He had to get in on
The
it.
digital Thunderdome. You engage in wrong think, you engage in wrong speak, you're going in the Thunderdome.
Yes, Jim. Believe it or not, if you say certain things, you should be ousted from polite society. For instance, if I got on stream tonight and was like, you know what? The Holocaust didn't happen. And I started pushing a bunch of just crazy propaganda saying the Holocaust didn't happen. Don't clip this, by the way. We'll take this out of context. I should be ousted from polite society, and I would hope that anybody watching me would be like, wow, this guy's a real fucking asshole, and I'm not going to watch his stream anymore. That's not the left canceling me. That's me being an asshole and losing my platform because I said something that was completely idiotic, and I'm an adult and I should be able to take responsibility for my actions. And I'm just some shithead on the internet. I'm not in Congress. Like, I don't know. Call me crazy, but I believe we should hold people in the highest offices in our country to a little bit of a higher standard. You know, maybe not like an alderman, but I feel like once you get to Congress and you represent a district, maybe you should be held to a higher standard than talking about Jewish space lasers. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like he wants to blame everything on cancel. Oh, this is the left, and they want to cancel everybody. Like, it's such a ridiculous way to frame this. Like, this is some slippery slope bullshit that, like, oh, what's next? You can't talk about Jewish space lasers? Then what? You can't dox Greta Thunberg's family? When will it end? You know, it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, like Paul said, like and share. What else did he have to say? He had something else to say here.
Everyone has said things they wish they didn't say.
Christ.
Everyone has done things they wish they didn't do.
Yeah, and maybe if you had defended your wrestling team a little bit more, you wouldn't have such a guilty conscience, shithead.
Everyone has said things they wish they didn't say. Everyone has done things they wish they didn't do. So who's next? Who will the cancel culture attack next? Everyone has said
Everything is cancel culture with this guy. And then McCarthy can't say QAnon.
The dangerous lies of QAnon last Congress. The dangerous lies of QAnon last.
QAnon, I think he's doing it on purpose. Like, right? He's got to be doing that on purpose. You can't say anon, QAnon, QAnon. Like he's purposely trying to play dumb on this. I don't know if you guys saw the video I released earlier, but he tried to play up last night like he didn't know what QAnon was and he's never heard of it. But he's been talking about it for months. And back in August, he said there was no room for it in the party. And I believe that was during the House vote to denounce QAnon. I believe that's when he said that. Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, here's the 9/11 thing.
School shootings are absolutely real. And every child that is lost, those families mourn it. I also want to tell you 9/11 absolutely happened. I remember that day crying all day long watching it on the news. And it's a tragedy for anyone to say it didn't happen. And so that I definitely want to tell you, I do not believe that it's fake. School shootings.
Again, that was not the allegation, lady. You're being such a sneaky little steak now. Is there a video of him mentioning QAnon? Yeah. Are you talking about McCarthy? Yeah, there's several videos. Oh no, the emojis go on the screen. It's like a thing I made called the emoji wall. So anytime you post an emoji in the chat, it bounces up on the screen. It's like a cool little fancy thing I got. Yeah, no, there's several videos to him. I put 2 in the video I made earlier that I posted. He was talking about QAnon back in August. And even if he had never talked about it before, there's no way anybody after January 6th that is in politics, that works in politics, could not at least know what QAnon is. I don't buy that. The majority of the country knew what it was before January 6th. After January 6th, pretty damn mainstream. You need to tell me you're the House Minority Leader of the Republican Party and you don't know what QAnon is? Like, you're just, you just think we're that stupid. If you're going to try to say something like that, you honestly think we're stupid if we're going to buy something like that. But so the overwhelming sentiment has been, well, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's sorry for what she did, and McCarthy said that she, behind closed doors, she said that she was sorry, and that she didn't mean to hurt anybody with her words, and this stuff was in the past. Yada yada yada. I apologize, trying to save face, all that. Well, she went on Sebastian Gorka's show, which that should be a red flag right there. But she went on Sebastian Gorka's show, and she was not very apologetic in her words. This is a little bit of what she had to say.
YouTube as well. You have been accused of saying things about 9/11, the Pentagon.
Sebastian Gorka, I am alpha male.
Attack, the school shootings,
yes.
that you're a QAnon supporter. Before we get to what the left is trying to do, I want to give you an opportunity to address those accusations about being a conspiracy theorist here on America First.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, you know what's happened? I'm one of those Americans that was supposed to never get elected to Congress. The elites don't want me here. They don't like me, as a matter of fact, because I'm just absolutely normal. I'm just like you and every single other person that goes to work every...
Yeah, that's complete horseshit. Just FYI, Marjorie Taylor Greene personally spent almost $1 million on her campaign. So that was her personal finances that she put into her campaign. So I don't want to hear this bullshit. Oh, I'm just like the regular everyman. I get out and work every day just like you. I'm one of the normies. Like, no, you're not. You're one of the elite. That's what you are. That's why you have all this money to run around and chase crazy conspiracy theories and try to make Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib swear on a Bible instead of a Quran and have time to actually even run for Congress, because you have money out the ass and you don't really have to work, so you can pursue all these pet projects. Most people can't run around and chase congressmen down the halls of Congress to try to get them to swear on a book because, you know, we got bills to pay and shit. So I don't want to hear that you're one of the average Joes fighting back against the elite. Like, it's just a horse shit lie.
Single day, crosses every single T, dots every single I, pays our taxes, follows the rules, but is fed up with our morally corrupt government. The same government and the politicians that have put us over nearly $30 trillion in debt have left our borders wide open to where our country's flooded with illegals, has murdered over 62 million babies in the womb with our tax dollars, sends our sons and daughters off to foreign wars and lets our military be used like some kind of world police. These are the same people that campaign and make promises to you constantly out on the trail, ask you for money, ask you for votes, but none of them have ever really fully lived in your shoes and care what you think, because all they care about is this bubble up here in Washington, D.C. Well, let me tell you something. I ran for office. I had 8 fantastic Republican opponents in my primary, and I worked hard, and I went out to the people, and I earned their votes, and I won overwhelmingly. I wasn't supported by the establishment. I wasn't propped up by the NRCC. I didn't have all that support. I basically did it on my own, on the ground, because I made it people over politicians.
She did it on her own with $1 million cash and a ton of endorsements from her social media fan base, because, you know, that's how she gained a following. She had over 100,000 followers on Facebook, and they all donated to her because, you know, she told them she was going to go up there and assassinate Nancy Pelosi, basically. So that's what she did it on. And yeah, she didn't have establishment support for a while, but she does now. That's for damn sure.
I've been a business owner for 20 years. I've been married almost 25 years. I'm a very proud mother of 3 children. I've never done drugs. I've never been arrested. The only thing bad I've done is probably gotten a speeding ticket. But you know what? Just like every single other person, yeah, I have said things I shouldn't say at some time or another, but I don't think I have anything to apologize for. So refusing to believe Trump-Russian collusion conspiracy theories and looking things up on the internet and asking questions about it on Facebook. Big deal. Just because I posted things on.
Man, that's some apology. Now this was what, today is the 4th? Yeah. So this was the 2nd. So this was 2 days ago. So unless she got real sorry real fast, she didn't seem very sorry there. I have nothing to apologize for. And I said some things I shouldn't have said. So what? Big deal. I only ever got a speeding ticket, so I guess, you know, just go full on conspiracy theory because you only ever got speeding tickets, I guess. I don't even understand why you would even bring that up, but okay. Yeah, so definitely not an apology in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Just a more horse shit, you know, trying to pass the buck. They want to take me down because I represent the little man and only the elite want to blah, blah, blah. Giovanni Acosta, thank you for subscribing. Very much appreciated.
Facebook back in 2018 doesn't mean that I should be removed from my committees here in Congress. It doesn't mean that I shouldn't be here to do the job that I came here to do. What they're angry about at me is I refuse to apologize. I refuse to be whipped into submission by the nasty, bloodthirsty hyenas in the media, and I refuse to back down. So and that's what they are most furious at. That's why they've turned this intense fury and fire on me, trying to get me expelled, get me kicked off the committees. They don't care about the people in my district. They don't think their votes and their opinion matters. And I won my election at around 75%, by the way. compared to other people. I have very solid support in my district. They don't care about the people. What they care about is what happens up here in the little tiny swamp that they think controls everything. They're so disconnected.
A little tiny swamp that is now surrounded by 3.2 miles of razor wire and 12-foot-high fences. Well, I am glad to have been given to being able to give you the opportunity to distance yourself from those comments, because we have a reputation here in America First for destroying conspiracy theories that are so harmful to our side. And I think you're right. I think you are you are simply a proxy for others. And let me read this tweet that you posted.
Sebastian knows where his bread is buttered. He sees the turning tides of the party. He has actually denounced QAnon, even though he played up to it before, but he has come out and said, things against it. But that's only after they came out against him. So he knows where his bread is buttered. He knows he doesn't need to push back against the new queen bee, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think that's pretty much it, though.
4 hours ago. It's not just me. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, but I mean, so spare
Want
me.
to help your community, but not.
Spare me the she tried to apologize bullshit, because the last thing she tried to do was apologize. All she's tried to do is sidestep and blame the left. That's what she did. There was no heartfelt, oh, look, guys, yeah, maybe I said some stuff. And you know what? Seeing as 2021 so batshit insane and Republicans are all batshit insane, if she actually came out and gave like a heartfelt, sincere apology, I might be inclined, like, you know what? Whatever. Just let her on the committee. She's not going to do shit anyway. Because Republicans are going to use this against us. But then again, Republicans are going to use it against us anyway. So you might as well throw her off. But, I mean, there was no apology there. She gave no apology today. And all we could muster up was 10 Republicans that nobody's ever heard of and probably won't have their seat the next time. So, she doesn't even know the law. Bro, she doesn't even know reality. Fuck the law. I mean, we're in another stratosphere with that one. Kevin McCarthy is a shitbag who probably doesn't know much, but I think he's at least a sane person. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene legitimately scares me, and the scariest thing is that I think that's the direction of the party, where it could go. If Biden doesn't do enough, like if he really fails just completely and we don't pass anything and they just pass the buck for another 4 years, she might be running for president and she might get a healthy amount of support. I mean, right now she's definitely the hottest thing going. In a way, it's almost bad to give her so much attention, because all it does is pump her up with the radical Trump base, because now they don't have Trump. And they gotta feed their addiction somehow, and she's filling that void. So in a way, it's almost like a double-edged sword, like pointing out all the horse shit she does, because some people like that horse shit. You know what I mean? So, a good dose of DMT, yeah. Maybe that's her. Maybe that's why, maybe she did a bunch of DMT with Joe Rogan. She's like, yeah, man, fucking Soros, space lasers. It could have been how she wrote all those Facebook posts. But then the thing, and I knew this was coming. But well, you know what? It doesn't surprise me. It surprised me a little bit, maybe. But I knew I should have known it was coming. Is we got the well, what about Ilhan Omar? Was it this guy? I think it was this guy, yeah.
Democrats are preparing to debate a resolution stripping.
Oh, well, hold on. Let me show you the other one first. Yeah. We got but what about Ilhan Omar stuff?
Questions for anti-Semitic statements.
But let's be clear,
But what she's doing is of a whole different kettle of fish.
One might be weird and kooky, Josh. The other is seen as racist.
You don't think Jewish space lasers is racist? You don't think saying the Rothschild family has lasers in space with another company that created wildfires? You don't think that's anti-Semitic. What do you think that is? What do you think all these conspiracy theories fall back to? All this QAnon, all this, all these conspiracies that she pushes, at their core, they're anti-Semitic conspiracy. Hell, half the GOP, when they push stuff about Soros, and I mean, it's all just anti-Semitic garbage, but she takes it to another level. So first, to compare, Ilhan Omar made a couple tweets, and one of them was like word for word, it said, "It's all about the Benjamins, baby." She was talking about money and politics, and they were saying why does, I can't remember the exact reason, but basically it was like, why is this happening? And Ilhan Omar tweeted, "It's all about the Benjamins, baby." She was talking about a corporate pact, a pro-Israeli lobbying group, which, because they were pro-Israeli and she's a brown person, they said, "Oh, wait, no, that's got to be anti-Semitic." It's like, no, it's just calling out money and politics. So it was a horseshit It was a horseshit smear to start with, but it's definitely not anti-Semitic, and it's definitely not anywhere close to anything Marjorie Taylor Greene has done. But my fear is when, if for some reason the Republicans get the majority back in 2022, they're going to try to boot Ilhan Omar, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley off their committees. Like, because that's how they roll. Like, we take an inch, they take a fucking football mile.
The collateral damage of that spreads because there's so many small businesses supporting those efforts. I'll move to this. Democrats are preparing to debate a resolution stripping Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of her committee assignments because of past statements in support of conspiracy theories. You are proposing the House instead strip Congresswoman Ilhan Omar from her committees over past statements that both Republicans and Democrats have deemed.
You see, they're already fucking doing it. This guy, oh, tit for tat. We ought to go tit for tat with them. Like, there's no equivalency here. And even though what Ilhan Omar said wasn't anti-Semitic, she actually apologized for it. She said, "Hey, my bad. Maybe what I said, I didn't really think about it before I said it. I could have worded it better." Like, she apologized for what she said. Like, full stop. But yeah, that doesn't fucking matter.
Anti-Semitic. Our power panel got into this. I come to you for the facts of the situation. How will this go forward?
Well, it looks like they may not actually have the rules hearing today. We'll see how that plays out. But the Democrats actually have the authority to remove Marjorie Taylor Greene from her committees. But, we're talking about statements that were made before she was even ever a candidate to Congress. And that I think has some bearing here. And she's if you want to know how she feels.
So if I deny the Holocaust for 20 years, and then I don't know why I always use that, but I guess that's a pretty bad one though. So if I deny the Holocaust for 20 years and then year 21, I decide I'm going to run for Congress, like, just none of that count. Like, when does this, I thought like people's character and their past actions mattered when you're running for public office. Isn't that kind of like the whole point? Like, we kind of look into people and like, oh, hey, well, this guy's kind of suspect. Maybe we shouldn't put him in office. Like, that's kind of the point. Or it's at least one of the points. One of the criteria is like, hey, this guy, he went to college, he was a lawyer, he did public service, he worked on this campaign. I think he'd be a good fit for office. Not on the Republican Party anymore. They just like, he likes fucking guns, and he said, fuck the Jews. Let's put him in Congress. That's literally the criteria for the Republican Party now. Oh, he hates Muslims. Huh. District 14, North Carolina. Be a good fit for him.
She'll answer and she'll tell you, and I think that's appropriate. On the other hand, you have statements from Ilhan Omar and actually from Nancy Pelosi or Maxine Waters, Representative Pressley, a whole plethora of folks who, while they're sitting here, that made offensive or dangerous statements as well. And we're really trying to say, look, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. But maybe what should happen is you let Republicans take care of our own, and you Democrats take care of your own. And when someone is elected, by the way, Most of these statements were already known when she was running. She won overwhelmingly.
It's an
Let's deal
interesting
with that.
point.
Yeah.
No, it's fucking not. It's not God, you're such a shill. God, you're shill. It's not an interesting point at all. It's fucking dumb.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. And on our power panel moments ago, the query was about whether or not you just let the voters decide on this. And by the way, I want to point out to our audience, no one is defending anything that either of these women has said. Right. You're talking about a course that goes ahead, committee, so on and so forth, what happens with them now. Congressman Biggs, it's always a wonderful pleasure to have you on the program, first person, eyes on the border.
Yeah, isn't Andy Biggs one of the guys who was in with the Stop the Steal people? I'm pretty sure it was Andy Biggs, right? It was Andy Biggs, Paul Gosar, and the one other dude. Yeah. So yeah, the guy that helped lead an insurrection on our Capitol. Yeah, that guy. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know how many ways I can say it, but there's just no equivalency, and it just shows you how slimy these people are. There's just no bottom. They will say anything. They will say absolutely anything. And I'm pretty sure maybe all about the Benjamin one, but there was like two things that Ilhan Omar ever tweeted, just like two tweets. And I think one of them was before she was in Congress. The other one might have been while she was in Congress. I don't know. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, I'm pretty sure one of them was when she was, but it just doesn't matter. It wasn't like 2002 or 2003. It was 2018. She was running around Congress trying to get people to swear on a Bible and, pushing all these crazy conspiracies that she got from Liz Crokin of all people. You know what I mean? They are crab people, Paul. That is correct. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's one of the traitors, Dave. Yes, exactly. You can be, but see that with that anti-Semitic thing is what they always push. Anytime you criticize Israel or an Israeli lobby, I think it was AIPAC, which AIPAC is like known for doing shady shit and pushing money towards horrible causes, and that's why Ilhan Omar was criticizing them. But they do stuff with Israel, so if you criticize them, you're anti-Semitic. That's the game they play. And it's a bullshit game, and anybody that really looked into the situation knew it was bullshit, but, the left-wing establishment and the right-wing establishment both kind of join forces and like, oh, that's anti-Semitic because, that's where our bread is buttered because they give us money. They play that horseshit game of, oh, it's anti-Semitic, that Israel, it's a bullshit comparison. Terrence K videos. But I don't know if you guys saw. Do you look through that? Look at that. Okay. But a lady that actually I just started following her, but a lady that follows me on TikTok, a former QAnon lady, did a interview on CNN about how she got out of the Q rabbit hole. This lady, I don't know if you guys have seen her, but it was a pretty interesting little piece. I thought we'd take a gander at that. I know a lot of you guys have a friend or family member in the Q hole. I DM'd her a couple hours ago. I'm gonna try to get her on the stream. Talk to her for a little bit, have like an interview. Figure that'd be fun. I'm gonna start trying to have more people on. Like people that like were involved in conspiracies and got out, or like people that, other people that like research QAnon and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to start doing that like once a week, probably. That's my idea anyway. Yeah, I've been tagged in a few of her videos. Because she's talked about like getting out of conspiracies, and she talked about the fall of the cabal, and a bunch of people tagged me in that video, obviously, because my debunk videos. But she said she could never find it. She said she tried to look for it on like Netflix and stuff, which I thought was pretty funny. Like scrolling Netflix for fall of the cabal. Like, damn it, where is it? Like, she must not have been, she wasn't too far in because she didn't even know about like Rumble and BitChute and all that. I mean, because, you know, you think that would be your go-to if that was the case. Anyway, yeah. I watched a little bit of this earlier.
When President Biden was sworn in.
Joseph Robinette Biden Jr.
Yeah, like she just got out. Like she was all the way in until Biden got sworn in. She said like after he got sworn in, she bawled her eyes out. And that was like the day she left.
I was just crying. I mean, I couldn't stop, like that ugly cry that you do. It just kept going, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm seeing the funeral of our country. And instantly I went into panic mode. I had to call my mom, and I just told her, I was like, we're all gonna die. We're gonna be owned by China. And I was like, I might have to pull my daughter out of school because they're gonna take her. I was scared to death.
Ashley Vanderbilt, a South Carolina mom who says she lost her job early in the pandemic, fell deep down the QAnon conspiracy theory rabbit hole before November's election.
How did you get into this world and go down this rabbit hole?
Well, I started seeing TikToks, and I didn't know that it was conspiracy things. I just thought it was, they were telling me something that nobody else knew. So then I would reach out to different friends of mine.
That's like the thing. She is completely non-political, and that's why QAnon works so well. Is it's able to pull in these people, a lot of them from like the beauty community or just other, you know, social media people that get into this kind of stuff, and they just put out the broad points of view, and it hooks people in. And I guarantee, like, I would say almost all of Trump's new votes came from QAnon. Like, there's no way I could ever prove that, but I really don't think he picked up any support other than QAnon becoming a thing. They would say that about 30 million people are into it somewhat. I mean, I don't feel like 10 million or whatever, 11 million, however many more votes he got than last time. I don't feel like that's a big jump, you know, with how many people are into QAnon. And this is the kind of people it ropes in, is people that didn't know shit about politics and like, oh, Trump's the savior? All right, let's do it. QAnon.
And that were bigger Trump supporters. I would say, you know, I saw this on TikTok, what do you think? And they'd start sending me YouTube videos. They would start sending me different Facebook Live videos. And one thing led to another. I just went down this rabbit hole learning all this stuff. But I mean, what have we heard the last 4 or 5 years? Don't watch the news, fake news, fake news. I don't watch the news, I don't read newspapers, like I don't do anything. I've always been someone that you just tell me what to do and I do it. I grew up being told we were Republicans, so I've always been that straight red ticket.
How do you think that videos like this started showing up in your feed?
Well, originally I was just following like entertainment stuff, but sometime when maybe people started like campaigning, I started liking a lot of Trump posts and things that were anti-Biden, and the algorithm must have just brought that kind of stuff to me.
Right before the inauguration, you didn't believe Biden was really going to get sworn in.
No, I expected a blackout. I expected the TV to go black and nothing to work, and so we wouldn't see anything. The assumption of what would happen would be that most of the
I'm sorry, but can you just imagine? I guess she wasn't really political, but she just kind of figured she was Republican before this. But can you just imagine, like, sitting there watching the inauguration, like, holding the flashlight? Any fucking second now, man. You got the potted meat. We gotta go, man. It's gonna black out any second. 10 days of darkness, dark to light. Trust the plan. Where we go one, we go all. Just saying QAnon slogans back and forth. And then the whole thing goes off and like, wait a damn minute. Something's off here. Maybe I have been bamboozled.
Democratic leaders there, quite a few of the Republican leaders, all the Hollywood elite that had attended, they'd all be arrested. The military's going to haul them off. They said that Trump opened back up.
I feel like they almost got Lady Gaga
and then the
stroll.
military would run the country, put us in martial law because the left would come too unhinged and they'd be a danger to us. And then Trump would come back when the government was rebuilt. I know it sounds crazy.
I mean, not really.
But you believed it.
I did.
And then Biden got sworn in.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel?
I was devastated.
The belief among QAnon supporters that Biden would not be inaugurated was wrong. Ashley Vanderbilt realized she had bought into a conspiracy theory.
Well, I was wrong.
How do you feel now, knowing that you believed all this stuff?
It's weird. I think I spent a lot of time this year isolated from everybody. You know, I've just been home a lot. I've lost my job last April in 2020, and I was super depressed. And I think in a way I probably lost touch with a little bit of reality and that almost like common sense. And so I'm not so much embarrassed for what I believed, but I mean, I feel foolish. I was stressed out all the time, so my home life, like with my 4-year-old, I feel like I definitely had a lot less patience with her. There would just be times where I would just snap. I would just get so upset with her. So I've had to apologize to her a lot for being like, I'm sorry for just even getting hateful towards you. Like, it is not you, it is me. I got my own stuff going on.
I mean, you must be happy that, for your daughter's sake, that you've been able to get out of this.
Yeah, she needs her mom. And I wasn't 100% there like I should have been.
A spokesperson for TikTok said the company is committed to countering misinformation and content promoting QAnon is not allowed on its platform. After finding
bullshit. The TikTok algorithm loves that shit. They love misinformation content. Every video I see that's like, guess what? Biden is actually an android, and Trump will be sworn in on the 44th day of the 44th month of the 44th year, which will make him the 44th man to be president of the 44th term, which will actually make him the 19th president. Anything that says any shit like that, I swear every time I see it, it has like 100K likes. It has more likes than my entire 500 million likes. Just give them all the likes. Martial law hashtag 27 million views. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear. TikTok loves that shit. And anytime you report it, it's like, nope, this is good. I get videos taken down all the time for supposed harassment. When I just like say, hey, this actually isn't true. They're like, nope, that's harassment. But you know, martial law in the entire country, that's perfectly fine. That's within the guidelines. I seen somebody said the algorithm's a lot to blame for it. Like, most definitely. The TikTok, YouTube, and especially the Facebook algorithm have a lot to do with how people get indoctrinated, because, you know, they want you to stay on the platform. So if you like something, they're going to keep feeding you that shit. And eventually, especially Facebook is the worst, especially with the groups, because if you like a group, they will share similar groups with you. And that's how a lot of these people, you know, get indoctrinated. And they get, like, they get into it, but then they get it, you know, they get their beliefs reaffirmed to them every single day because they're around a bunch of other people that are like, yeah, dark to light, yeah. Where we go one, we go all. I only joined TikTok to follow the Driven Progressive. My guy. All right. That works. There's some other good accounts, though. Most definitely.
In QAnon True TikTok, Ashley said the only thing that might have pulled her out of it before the inauguration was if Trump spoke out against it.
I was the biggest Trump supporter there was. If he were to have said something, and if he were to just say Q's illegitimate, nothing's real in there, I think some people would leave. Maybe not all, the people that are way too far into it, but I think it would help a lot of.
I think it would have helped you.
Mm-hmm. I thought the world of him. So if he would have said that's not real, I'm not coming back, it is over, I would have believed him.
Oh my gosh, Donnie. Oh my gosh. It is so valuable to have somebody as honest now and sort of now self-aware as she is to explain how it happens. I think that was very insightful hearing that.
I still feel like after all this time, and even though now it's like very much mainstream and a lot of people have talked about it, I still feel like these people, he gets it. Like, Donnie's a good researcher. He's one of the few that actually, I think, understands QAnon. But like, these people just totally do not understand how it works. They just don't get it. They don't get it at all.
That isolation and depression lead to it, and so do TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. And if that's where you get your information or your news, we're in trouble.
Yeah, see, that's just dumb. See, stuff like that is exactly what I'm talking about. That's just a dumb statement. You can get your news from YouTube. I pretty much get all my news, for the most part, from YouTube. I have some, you know, I watch CNN, MSNBC. I watch mainstream news, but I could go without mainstream news and still be just as informed. You just have to have a good understanding of media. You have to know what to look for, I guess. And honestly, you can get bad narratives and media from mainstream media. You just have to know how to navigate the media landscape, because if you just watch CNN, they tell you the same 3 stories all day in a 24-hour news network or a 24-hour news cycle, and you don't really understand the nuts and bolts of a lot of things. And that's where YouTube is good, because it's a lot of podcasts and people that have like specialties, and you can get more in depth on certain topics. Like with CNN or MSNBC, you kind of just get the broad strokes of a few different issues, and then they have these stupid panels where everybody just yells over everyone, and it's a spectacle, and you don't really learn anything. But YouTube can be a very good news source. It just depends who you watch on there. If you're watching fucking Jordan Sather and Dustin Nemos, yeah, no, that's not good. That's bad. Or praying medic.
Yeah, and I mean, what was incredible was here you have a 27-year-old mom in South Carolina, and she's able to come out and say, I was wrong. And she's able to come out and denounce QAnon for what it is, a crazy conspiracy theory. Yet there's people in the Republican Party, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who are members of Congress, but are not coming out to do just what this mother is doing.
Yeah, I read I
gotta say, the end there, where she said the one thing that could have changed her mind is if the former president had come out and said, this is all made up, or said QAnon is wrong, which is the opposite of what he said, Donnie. I mean, he has come out and said these are good people who just love America. This really puts it on him in a way.
Yeah, and I mean, Trump is the hero in the QAnon story, right? He is the hero. He's a godlike figure. I mean, Ashley there even said, she is a religious person. She is a Christian. She was wondering at points if she was putting Trump above God. And what do we see Trump do? We saw him praise QAnon's followers, and we saw him engage and retweet with many of the accounts that are pushing this conspiracy theory.
Another insight that she had, where she said, basically in my life, you just tell me what to do and I do it. And I think that was also really honest, which is some people are followers. There are some people who are leaders. There are some people who are followers. That's just true. There's no judgment there. But it's followers who are looking to a leader, and Donald Trump wasn't giving them real information.
Yeah, and she was extremely candid, about her ignorance, frankly. She said, I don't watch the news. I don't read newspapers. We've been told for 4 or 5 years about the fake news, fake news, fake news. And now she said that she is, as she reevaluates her politics, as she reevaluates her beliefs, she is going to start engaging with journalism. And actually, after this interview, she posted on her TikTok account, she's still using TikTok to now spread the message about helping people get out of conspiracy theories. She posted on TikTok saying, I just finished an interview with CNN. When I believed this conspiracy theory, when I was in QAnon, this was the evil news organization that I was most afraid of.
I got to say, Donnie, a big part of that is the fact that she was willing to do it is how great of a reporter you are and how you've approached this from the beginning. You are doing a service to everyone. You're doing a service to truth in your reporting on this. Thank you so much for shining a light on this.
Our news.
Yeah, but I thought that was a pretty good little piece. I don't know if she's all the way. I haven't seen too many of her TikToks, but she seems pretty reformed. I don't think she likes Trump anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I messaged her. I hope I'm trying to get her on the stream eventually. See what happens. But yeah. Anyway, while we're here, before we switch topics, if you guys could like the stream, I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you like the live streams, you can follow me on Twitch. That would be awesome. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe on Twitch. And if you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free Twitch subscription. And yeah, all my socials are down in the description on either channel. And you can support the stream with PayPal or support me on Patreon. All that stuff. Also, join the Discord because it's awesome. And I'm actually figuring out how to use it now. Or all the inner workings of it. There's a lot of shit you can do, actually. So, okay. We got to talk about the Okay. We got to talk about the AOC story, of course. But before we do, well, this is kind of the AOC story. But later T. Oh, I don't know who that. Okay. Oh, I thought you were talking to me. Yeah. So Tim Pool, his dumbass, they're trying to roast AOC because they're claiming she lied, but she did not lie. They misconstrued her story and tried to spin it into something she didn't say, and then off of that, claimed that she lied. And Tim, of course, had to make a video about it, and his own guy, who's pretty dumb, kind of owned him on it, and it was pretty hilarious. So we'll just play a little bit of that, and then we'll go over some of the other stuff.
Riots. I didn't want to go with the Republicans and be in the same place with them. Later, she's now saying that maybe she didn't get the extraction point information because the officer was withholding it. Like, the story changed a month later. She is purposefully turning on her live stream and telling a sob story. My question:
the story didn't change, and she's just telling the story. I love how her telling the story about her experience and then being brave enough to share that she was a survivor of sexual assault is her telling a sob story. Like, these people always think there's some like crazy agenda behind this.
Is you bring up a good point, Jack. Why is she bringing this up right now? It's been a month, and she goes, they're trying to tell me to move on. I'm not telling you to move on. I'm wondering why it is you purposefully.
Tim, you literally are. You're asking why is she bringing this up now? That's what you're doing. By saying why are you bringing this up now? You're telling her to move on. If she brought it up 6 months from now, would it be better? I don't understand. Like, that doesn't make any sense. God, these people are dumb.
Chose to start a late night primetime live stream telling a fake story, exaggerating what went down and denigrating the cop who actually tried to save your life. If it was true that you were in the Capitol building, like everyone assumed, and maybe it's not her fault because people just assumed it, but that could be, it's a manipulation tactic to leave out key details to make people assume things. I don't know if she has the savvy to actually pull that off. Maybe she does.
I think she does. I think she's extremely cynical. I don't think people give her enough credit. I think we think she's silly and ditzy.
Oh my God.
I think she's incredibly cynical, and the fact that she brought in the race of the people who are being affected, like treating the cop like he was after her because her skin tone. That's something intense for when you're feeling super emotional.
If she's telling us this story about Ryder,
she said the cop was acting weird. That's just what she felt. How do you you trying to say that she's lying about that or being like mischievous is just dumb. Anyway, we'll get to the part where his guy just owns him, but I don't know. I could critique every single thing in this entire video, but we'll try to skip ahead to that.
Is coming to get her. It was bad enough she was insulting the cop who was risking his life to save her when another cop already lost his life. Now it turns out this cop was probably just walking through an empty building, and he probably knocked on the door, probably not even that bad, and said, "Oh, where is she? Oh, you can come out. Go to Katie Porter's office."
What's up with the bombs? I heard about bombs surrounding.
Yeah, they were
complex.
pipe bombs, I guess, right?
Okay. She never said she was in the Capitol building, from what I know. So she didn't overtly lie to people. She just omitted information, assuming that people knew.
No. But now she's saying, when Jack Posobiec put out the story, she's like, this is misinformation. They don't understand the Capitol complex. She's trying to defend the idea that she was in the riot.
And the mainstream media was running with the story. She was at the Capitol, many of them. And if you're in that position, you're supposed to fix them. You're supposed to correct them as the person who's telling the story so people don't assume.
But not only that.
I don't think anybody said that. I think they said she was at the Capitol complex, and she said the story. She said exactly what happened on her live stream. So, I mean, it's just, she's supposed to chase down, if a media outlet gets it wrong, she's supposed to chase down every single one of them on the same day and be like, well, no, go watch my live stream again. This is exactly what happened. Like, that's a dumb thing. You're literally you're talking about this the day after it happened. But, anyway.
She may not have said, I was in the Capitol building. Exactly. She was telling a story about how the rioters were potentially coming for her and she was hiding from them. Mm-hmm. They were across the street in a totally different building.
No, it was just madness and chaos, so she didn't know where they were. Likely.
She knew they weren't in the building.
And when you say, if you're at the Capitol complex, you're at the Capitol. Even if you're not in the Capitol building, you're still at the Capitol. is the way I think the phrase.
It's irrelevant, bro.
Look.
Yeah.
I wasn't at the Capitol building that.
Well, okay, yeah, yeah. It's just so dumb. Like I don't understand what he wants from AOC. Like, oh, she didn't break it down exactly how I wanted her to. She didn't tell her survival story the exact way I wanted her to. So she's a manipulative liar. When Shaggy 2 Dope there just laid it out. She never said she was in the Capitol building. She said she was in her office. People know where her office is at. But she didn't know what was going on around there. All she knew was they were evacuating and that people were rushing the thing outside. So I don't know what you want from her. And I don't know if you know this, but millions and millions of people, because of idiots like you, want to murder AOC on a daily basis. And she gets a shit ton of death threats. And people were live tweeting that they wanted to murder AOC during the insurrection. So I don't really get what your deal is, but this guy takes it in a really weird direction here.
That day, but I was downtown. I was on Pennsylvania Avenue. I saw what was going on. I felt the energy. Dude, even I could tell that there was something off, right? There was energy in the air that wasn't usually there. And it was unsettling to me. And as I get in the reports of the riots at Capitol, I was like, I'm not going down there. So I can understand if she was uncomfortable. I totally can. The lying, I even understand that. People embellish. She's on Instagram. She's just talking her heart and whatever. But the timing.
Oh.
And why now? Why now at the same time as all this news about domestic counterintelligence or counterterrorism and battling insurgencies and doubling down on people being terrorist groups and insurgents and suppression of civil rights and coming after people and de-Trumpification? I think it's smokescreen. I think it's it's.
That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's all a smokescreen. It's all a smokescreen because AOC, the most for the people candidate, completely not bought off by corporations like all the people that they fucking shill for, did an Instagram live video so she could run a smokescreen so she could get counterintelligence bills passed. Like, how fucking stupid. Rashida Tlaib, who is a member of the squad and one of AOC's like closest friends in Congress, has come out against. I don't know if AOC has. I can't say for 100% if she's come out and said we don't need to give him any more power. But I know Rashida Tlaib has. She has come out and said, even though this happened, we can't give, Big Brother any more power, kind of like a Patriot Act. We can't have a Patriot Act take two, basically, out of this. But I just want to let's just go over a little bit of the fact check, just so everybody knows kind of the deal over this. Okay. So what's true? This is the fact check on the thing. Ocasio-Cortez wasn't in the main Capitol building where the House and Senate chambers are located. What's false? When the attack on the Capitol building began, Ocasio-Cortez was in her congressional office, which is located in a network. By the way, this is a fact check on, did AOC exaggerate the danger she was in during the Capitol riot? When the attack took place, well, I'll just read the thing. In the aftermath of the deadly January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, U.S. Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, let me pop this up a little. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez took to Instagram Live on February 1st to relay her personal account of how the events on that day had traumatized her. One theme covered her retelling of those events was how her past experiences with trauma, particularly surviving a sexual assault, had compounded her fear during and after the Capitol riot. I'm a survivor of sexual assault and haven't told many people that in my life, she said toward the beginning of her story. But when we go through trauma compounds on each other. Ocasio-Cortez also observed that in a painful fact for many survivors of trauma that we must deal with people who try to minimize what we experience when they tell their stories in an effort to silence them. Kind of like these shitheads are doing. It took less than 48 hours for the right-wing disinformation machine to contrive a way to minimize what Ocasio-Cortez said she had experienced. In a circus of cyberbullying that began on February 3rd, 2021, conservative news outlets and social media conspiracy trolls latched onto the misleading claim that Ocasio-Cortez wasn't in the Capitol building and therefore was not in harm's way, as she had described in her Instagram video. Examples included Red State blog headline, AOC wasn't even in the Capitol building during her near-death experience, and following her tweet from the Daily Wire website. Others similarly chimed in, and such a conspiracy theorist, Candace Owens, imagine that, who piled on another false claim by tweeting that Ocasio-Cortez faked her own attempted murder after having previously staged a photo shoot dressed in all white at a parking lot. From the immigrant thing, that was bullshit too. Staged photo that was claimed based on disinformation produced by the Alex Jones conspiracy network InfoWars. Online trolls went further by drawing a misleading comparison between Ocasio-Cortez and Jussie Smollett, an actor accused of staging a racist anti-gay attack against himself in 2019. First, we'll discuss Ocasio-Cortez blog. In an emotional 90-minute video, Ocasio-Cortez described in detail how her sense of danger grew in the days leading up to the assault on the Capitol. On the day she said she had felt sick with anxiety, but she was also happy that as news that fellow Democrats Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff have won U.S. Senate elections in Georgia, handing Democrats a narrow majority. Around the time of the clashes at the Capitol started, Ocasio-Cortez said she was at her desk scrolling through lunch options when she heard a loud, violent banging on her office door. She ran over to her legislative director, I don't know what, G is the guy's name, who told her, hide, run, run, and hide. Hide, run, run, and hide. She hid in the bathroom of her office and realized that the person who was banging on the door had gotten inside and was yelling, where is she? Ocasio-Cortez said she didn't know it while she was hiding, but the person calling out to her was actually a Capitol police officer. In that moment, while she was hiding in her bathroom and the door started to open on her, Ocasio-Cortez said she thought she was going to die. This was the moment where I thought everything was over. And that's the moment that everybody's taking out of context, because they're saying, they're just showing the one clip. It's like, oh, well, I thought I was going to die. And then, it actually, like, she didn't know who was coming in, and it ended up being the Capitol police officer. And they're trying to spin this, and it's just a bunch of horse shit. I mean, I can keep reading on, but you guys basically get it. I don't know. But this is the Snopes article. I think I linked it in the Discord for anybody that wants to read the whole thing. But they yeah. Well, that's at the top. Yeah, at the top. But yeah, mostly false. It's just a horse shit smear, basically. Imagine that coming from Tim Pool and shit. And Steven Crowder had a whole bunch of dumb shit to say about it too, but I won't even get into that. But yeah. Love you all. Go to church on Sunday? What? Going to church? Okay, so I don't know if you guys saw this, but not only did they get this is a pretty good story. I was pretty thrilled to see this, but election tech company sues Fox News, Giuliani, and others for $2.7 billion. Election technology company Smartmatic filed a massive lawsuit Thursday against Fox News, saying that the network and some of its biggest on-air personalities made into a villain and perpetuated false claims about the recent election. The suit names Fox stars Lou Dobbs, Maria Bartiromo, and Janine Pirro, as well as Trump allies Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell. That's not all it names. It also names, where's it at? Hold on. There's so much shit here. Yeah. This is who else made the list. We got Newsmax's Greg Keller. We got Mike Lindell. We got Newsmax themselves. One America News Network. Janine Pirro. Sidney Powell. I don't know who the fuck this is. Jovan Pulitzer? Like Pulitzer Prize? These must be like far-right people or something I've never even heard of. Rebel News Online. Donald J. Trump and his presidential campaign. Ron and Jim Watkins. Lynn Wood. By the way, did you guys see that Lynn Wood might have actually voted illegally because he didn't tell them to change states? Dan Bongino, Maria fucking Bartiromo, I don't know why I can't say it. Patrick Breen, who is the crazy Overstock guy. Whoever the fuck this is. Lou Dobbs, Jenna Ellis, The Epic Times, Michael Flynn, Fox News, Sean Hannity. So they're literally going for everybody, which I'm glad they are, because, you know, you shouldn't be able just to spread outright lies about people. It's one thing to push, you know, semi-propaganda, I guess, against like public officials. That's one thing. But, you know, to completely shit on a company to where you're going to destroy their business, because who's going to want to work with them? Because from now on, anytime a Republican's involved in an election that uses Smartmatic machines, they're immediately going to go to that Hugo Chavez's ghost. Oh my God. Yeah, Dan Bongino's not having a good couple months. Apparently his CEO just called him out too. But goes on here. The defamation and disparagement lawsuit seeks more than $2.7 billion, citing damage from the Smartmatic calls, a disinformation campaign that was waged by people who were unhappy with President Biden's victory, but who also hoped to profit from former President Donald Trump's persistent and erroneous claims that the election was fraudulent. This other Axios story I got to share with you guys. It's absolutely amazing. But this kind of ties into it. They knew the election was not stolen. The company says in a court filing, they knew the election was not rigged or fixed. They knew these truths, just as they know that the earth is round and 2 + 2 = 4. When reached for comment, a Fox News Media spokesperson said Fox News Media is committed to providing the full context of every story with in-depth reporting and clear opinion. We are proud of our election 2020 coverage, and we are vigorously defending this meritless lawsuit in court. The company is seeking unspecified punitive damages in addition to the $2.7 billion. So they're going for more money on top of it. So I don't know. I wonder how much. I don't know if they. I feel like they have a case against Newsmax and some of them other guys. Lou Dobbs is Fox News. He was pretty bad. So was Janine Pirro. Well, shit, maybe he does have a case against Fox. They did go pretty hard on it. I mean, even Tucker. I'm surprised Tucker's not in there. I guess he didn't go quite as hard. But Sean Hannity, he was all in. And Smartmatic also wants a federal court to order the defendants to fully retract their false statements about the company. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, so they are getting sued, and there's a little video about it here. Dude, what the fuck is going on? Like,
lawsuit. Smartmatic has just sued Fox News, Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and some Fox News hosts in New York State Court for $2.7 billion. The lawsuit alleges that Fox, along with the others, concocted this disinformation campaign that targeted a disinformation campaign the lawsuit says has now jeopardized the business's very survival and also prompted a wave of threats against some of the employees. According to the lawsuit, it says that Fox had a financial interest to push pro-Trump conspiracy theories that suggested the election was stolen. Obviously, it wasn't, but that was something that took hold on Fox's air for several weeks and on a lot of the programs. And so they say that they were the villain in the story. I'll read you part of the lawsuit. It actually says, they needed a villain, they needed someone to blame, they needed someone whom they could get others to hate. A story of good versus evil, the type that would incite an angry mob only works if the storyteller provides the audience with someone who personifies evil. In this case, Smartmatic is saying that Fox chose its company to personify that evil, to get viewers angry at, and so they're taking action. I talked to the CEO of the company and he said he had no choice but to take action because this, according to him, has jeopardized the company. I should say that Fox has just responded to this lawsuit. They're calling it meritless, and Sidney Powell's calling it a political maneuver. We reached out to Rudy Giuliani and others, and we'll have more for you if they have comments.
I mean, Brian, this is certainly a very interesting development, especially when you consider that, let's say if you watched Fox Dayside during all of this versus Fox Primetime, you would get a very different story. I don't want to say there was no tolerance for some of the wingnuttery during the Dayside hours.
Wingnuttery, I like that.
But there was less tolerance for it. And you had, certainly this wasn't maybe something that was propagated as much during the daytime hours. And I wonder if that's an observation that perhaps you've noticed.
Well, some of the hosts who are named in this lawsuit, like Lou Dobbs and Maria Bartiromo, they were promoting the big lie much more than other hosts on Fox News. But this lawsuit targets the company as well as the individuals, and this is a grave legal challenge to Fox News. Look, journalists have a lot of good reason to be concerned about the specter of lawsuits in response to journalism. Press freedom must always be protected. But this is not a nuisance lawsuit targeting a newsroom. This lawsuit has very little to do with journalism at all. This lawsuit's not about press freedom. It's about liars on television lying in order to desperately help the outgoing president of the United States, not calling to ask for information from the company, not trying to get the facts right, but just entertaining their viewers with damaging lies. And that's why this is going to be a significant legal test. Look, proving defamation is one thing. The lawyers believe that's going to be a pretty easy case. Proving damages is another. I think we should view $2.7 billion as the opening bid here in a negotiation, not as the final figure. But it is stunning to see a major media company sued for $2.7 billion. Stunning to see a nearly 300-page lawsuit full of examples of the disinformation that was spread on the air, both by guests as well as sometimes by the hosts, Brianna.
I mean, I don't like to see, a bunch of lawsuits over, like media companies and stuff, and I'm big on free speech, but I mean, honestly, it's slander. It's slander against their company. And I mean, how else are you going to push back against these guys? They don't understand anything else. You can't just talk about it or call them out because it doesn't matter. I think the only way that you can get back at them is to hit them in the pocketbook. I don't feel like anything else is going to work, especially with people like Judge Jeanine and Sean Hannity. I don't know what else you would do. And you have to go for the jugular. Otherwise, they're just going to tell you to piss off. So, I mean, I think it's going to be tough. Even though, I mean, clearly they lied about them and they knew it. That's tough to prove. It's going to be tough to prove that, Sean Hannity knew he was lying, because that's what you got to prove. That's why slander's so hard, because you got to prove that the person knowingly lied about you. And yeah, that's going to be tough. There was speaking of Kate McKinnon, there was a good SNL skit I watched. Oh, look. I should check out that guy's live. Gotta get these numbers up tonight. How much is Fox Network even worth? I don't know. Good question. Billions for sure. They're definitely worth billions. Dude, I thought this segment was pretty funny. It just shows like kind of how fucked we are.
And now it's time for
Probably gonna get
What Still
copyrighted.
Works.
I don't know if you guys saw that. Fortunately, I think the meme is over. It seems like GameStop is tumbling down. I think it might have one more spark up, like maybe to like 150 or something. But I think the glory days are unfortunately over. No more $300-$400 stock. Everybody panicking on Wall Street. I think the dream is dead. I didn't realize it was that damn long. But so oh yeah. So in QAnon crazy news today. Now where's everybody at tonight? We had this one was pretty interesting. A little bloodlust for you from the QAnon community. I made a post about this earlier, but I didn't get too many views, so I guess I'll go over it again anyway. But so Ben posted this earlier. Quick story about bloodlust, QAnon, and Facebook. There's a picture going around Facebook right now. I'm assuming he meant to put around Facebook right now that refers to the 10 days of darkness. Some Q people believe Trump is still in power and has been secretly executing the deep state for the last 10 days in front of the White House. This is so they got they kind of Photoshop this in. You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of has the same, like it's obviously fake, but you know. Yeah, remember what we're dealing with here. The viral QAnon picture shows the new security fencing around the White House and then places a real picture of gallows that kind of sort of look like the same infrastructure. I'm not going to zoom in on the gallows because that's a real hanging. Yes, that's a real person being murdered. The QAnon people used a photo from a Kuwaiti execution in 2013. They stole these images to claim that the deep state is being hanged by Donald Trump's secret government in front of the White House, which has QAnon people ecstatic. Yes, ecstatic. The bloodlust from these supposed broad daylight executions by QAnon people on Facebook is staggering. Some people disbelieve, others love it. Love it. I hope those are not test dummies hanging there. Now, here's some of the comments. Love it, love it, love it. Saw the gallows pictures last week. 3 hung by daylight. Wow. 6 replies on that one. This one got 5 likes. The only thing I didn't think this was real. Thought it was dummies, not real people. Who is hanging? And this person says, sheeple, follow the blind sheep. Looks like a prison. They should tear it down. I don't know what's going on with that comment. Pat, can you tell me what I'm seeing? I hope those are not test dummies hanging there. Like, oh my God. Man, I sure hope those are real people getting murdered. Oh, this is like somebody's uncle or something. Fuck, man. Like the just overt bloodlust is just staggering. QAnon is a political movement based on the imminent public execution of political enemies. People are desperate for this day to come. It has broad support. Not denouncing and pretending it's not there has already had deadly consequences, and they want more. Yes. So when people like Kevin McCarthy just pretend like, oh, QAnon, I don't know what this QAnon is. You are actively helping this movement. You are helping out with this shit because you don't want to call it out and denounce it properly, because it's going to get you in hot water and you don't want to piss off the base. You're playing dumb like, oh, QAnon? I never met her. Ha ha ha. And it's really fucking people over. And I just hope these people know what they're doing. I hope it's worth the votes. I just really, really hope they understand what they've gotten themselves into. 2:30, Paul. All right, man. Peace out. Thanks for hanging out as always. Much appreciated. By the way, anybody that's here, if you could like the stream really, really quick, I really, really, really much appreciate it. As always, follow me on Twitch and join the Discord. But yeah, so I mean, and you know, stuff like this. This is daily basis on this. You see stuff like this all the time if you go into the QAnon realm. This is a beauty influencer that was she's got 3 million followers on Instagram. She's retweeting stuff about Lynn Wood. This is Amanda Ensing is her name. I think I talked about her on stream one. Nothing we are being told in regards to the Nashville bombing feels right. All the systems are down in every business I've been to since our 9/11 limes went down. No cell service. I have a feeling they aren't going to tell us what's actually happening. And it goes on. She retweeted Lynn Wood. Not retweeted, but that's Telegram. She liked this post basically calling for Democrat, you know, and then she retweeted the Babylon Bee thinking it was an actual thing. You know, just par for the course, I guess. But, all right. So, this story is absolutely amazing. And I figured save best for last. Might as well. But this one is pretty good. I read this earlier. It's a good series. By the way, all 4 parts of this are in my Discord. If you have a minute, I would read all 4 of them. It's basically Axios it's called Off the Rails. It's basically like the Trump saga after the election night. Like everything that happened after the election, like the whole crazy up until the insurrection. Like all the crazy insider Washington, like inside the White House, what Trump was actually doing. Because, you know, they've got some of the best inside sources, Axios. So this details a meeting that they had in the White House between Sidney Powell, Mike Flynn, the guy from Overstock.com, and some of the White House counsel. And it is quite a doozy. The other 3 parts, this is the last part. The other 3 parts are in the Discord. I think I put this one in there too. But we'll go through it. Okay. So, 4 conspiracy theorists marched into the Oval Office. It was early evening, Friday, December the 18th. More than a month after the election had been declared for Joe Biden, and 4 days after the Electoral College met in every state to make it official. How the hell did Sidney get in the building? White House senior executive advisor Eric Hirschman grumbled from the outer Oval Office as Sidney Powell and her entourage strutted by to visit the president. President Trump's private schedule hadn't included appointments for Powell or the others: former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, former Overstock.com CEO Patrick Greene, and little-known former Trump administration official Emily Newman. But they'd come to convince Trump that he had the power to take extreme measures and keep fighting. As Powell and the others entered the Oval Office that evening, Hirschman, a wealthy business executive and former partner at Kasowitz, Benson, and Torres, who had been pulled out of quasi-retirement to advise Trump, quietly slipped in behind them. The hours to come would pit the insurgent conspiracists against a handful of White House lawyers and advisors determined to keep the president from giving into temptation and invoking emergency national security powers, seize voting machines, and disable the primary levers of American democracy. Hirschman took a seat in a yellow chair close to the doorway. Powell, Flynn, Newman, and Breen sat in a row before the Resolute desk facing the president. For weeks now, ever since Rudy Giuliani had commandeered Trump's floundering campaign to overturn the election, outsiders had been coming out of the woodwork to feed the president wild allegations of voter fraud based on highly dubious sources. Trump was no longer focused on any semblance of governing agenda, instead spending his days taking phone calls and meetings from anyone armed with conspiracy theories about the election. For the White House staff, it was an unending sea of garbage churned up by bottom feeders. Powell began this meeting with the same baseless claims that now have her facing a $1.3 billion defamation lawsuit. She told the president that Dominion voting systems had rigged their machines to flip votes from Trump to Biden, and that it was part of an international communist plot to steal the election for Democrats. Still sounds weird every time we say it. This is just Powell's statement because she didn't want to give she didn't give a statement to Axios. Powell waved an affidavit from a pile of papers in her lap, claiming it contained testimony from someone involved in the development of rigged voting machines in Venezuela. She proposed declaring a national emergency, granting her and her cabal top secret security clearance, and using the U.S. government to seize Dominion voting machines. Like, all those crazy theories that you heard about, like, we really came very close to all of them coming true. Like, all the people are like, oh, that would never happen. Like, they almost happened. Hold on a minute, Sydney, Hersherman interrupted from the back of the Oval Office. You're part of the Rudy team, right? Is your theory that Democrats got together and changed the rules, or is it that there was foreign interference in our election? Giuliani's legal efforts, while replete and with debunked claims about voter fraud, had largely focused on allegations of misconduct by corrupt Democrats and election officials. It's foreign interference, Powell insisted, then added, Rudy hasn't understood what this case was about until just now. In disbelief, Hersherman yelled to an aide in the outer Oval Office, "Get Pat down here immediately." Several minutes later, White House counsel Pat Cipollone walked into the Oval He looked at Greene and said, "Who are you?" The meeting was already getting heated. White House staff had spent weeks poring over the evidence underlying hundreds of affidavits and other claims of fraud promoted by Trump allies like Powell. The team had done their due diligence and knew the specific details of what was being alleged better than anybody. Time and time again, they found Powell's allegations fell apart under basic scrutiny. But Powell's fixing on Trump's continued to elaborate on a fantastical election narrative involving Venezuela, Iran, China, and others. She named a county in Georgia where she claimed she could prove that Dominion had illegally flipped the vote. Hersherman interrupted to point out that Trump had actually won the Georgia county in question. So your theory is that Dominion intentionally flipped the vote so we could win the county? As for Powell's larger claim, he demanded she provide evidence for what, if true, would amount to the greatest national security breach in American history. They needed to dial in one of the campaign's lawyers, Hersherman said, and the Trump campaign lawyer, Matt Morgan, was patched in via speakerphone. By now, people were yelling and cursing. The room was starting to fill up. Trump's personal assistant summoned White House Staff Secretary Derek Lyons to join the meeting and asked him to bring a copy of the 2018 executive order that the Powell group kept citing as a key victory. Lyons agreed with Cipollone that the other officials that Powell's theories were nonsensical. It was now 4 against 4. Flynn went berserk. The former three-star general whom Trump had fired as his first national security advisor after he was caught lying to the FBI and was later pardoned, stood up and turned from the resolute desk to face Hersherman. "You're quitting. You're a quitter. You're not fighting," he exploded at the senior advisor. Flynn then turned to the president and implored, "Sir, we need fighters." Hersherman ignored Flynn at first and continued to probe Powell's pitch with questions about the underlying evidence. "All you do is promise, but you never deliver," he said to her sharply. Flynn was ranting and seemingly infuriating about anyone challenging Powell, who had represented him in his recent legal battles. Finally, Hersherman had enough. "Why the fuck do you keep standing up and screaming at me?" he shot back at Flynn. "If you want to come over here, then come over here. If not, then sit your ass down." Flynn sat back down. The meeting had come entirely off the rails. Greene, backing up Flynn, told Trump the White House lawyers didn't care about him and were being obstructive. Greene is the Overstock guy, just in case you, but was backing up Flynn and told Trump the White House lawyers didn't care about him and were being obstructive. "Sir, we're both entrepreneurs and we both built businesses," the former Overstock CEO told Trump. "We know that there are times when you have to be creative and take different steps." This was a remarkable level of personal familiarity, given that this was the first time Greene had met the president, and all the staunchness and buffers between the White House and the outside world had crumbled. Greene kept attacking the senior White House staff in front of Trump. They already abandoned you, he told the president aggressively. Periodically during the meeting, Flynn and Greene challenged Trump's top staff, portraying them as disloyal. So do you think the president won or not? Like, these guys are like fucking 5-year-olds, man. I swear to God. At one point, with Flynn shouting, Greene raised his hand to talk. He stood up and turned around to face Hershman. You're a quitter, he said. You've been interfering with everything. You've been cutting us off. Do you even know who the fuck I am, you idiot? Hershman snapped back. Yeah, you're Patrick Cipollone, Greene said. Wrong. Wrong, you idiot. The staff were now on their feet, standing behind one of the couches and facing the PAL crew at the Resolute desk. Cipollone stood at Hershman's left. Lyons, and on his last day on the job, stood to Hershman's right. Trump was behind the desk watching the show. He briefly left the meeting to wander into his private dining room. The usually mild-mannered Lyons blasted the PAL set. You brought 60 cases, and you've lost every case you've had. Trump came back into the Oval Office from the dining room to rejoin the meeting. Lyons pointed out to PAL that their incompetence went beyond their lawsuits being thrown out for standing. You somehow managed to misspell the word district 3 different ways in your suits, he said pointedly. In the Georgia case, just talks about basically they misspelled district 3 times, but not only did they misspell it 3 times, they misspelled it 3 different ways in one lawsuit. And it says, these were sloppy errors, but given that these lawsuits aim to overturn a presidential election, the court nomenclature should have been pristine. Powell, Flynn, and Greene began attacking Lyons as they renewed their argument to Trump. There you go again. They want to focus on the insignificant details instead of fighting for you. Trump replied, No, he's right. That was very embarrassing. That shouldn't have happened. And I can almost see him saying like that, like, no, he's right. That's right. That's embarrassing. That shouldn't have happened. The PAL team needed to regroup. They shifted it to a new grievance to turn the conversation away from their embarrassing errors. PAL insisted that they hadn't lost 60-some-odd court cases, since the cases were mostly dismissed for lack of standing. They had never had a chance to present their evidence. Every judge, this is Sidney Powell, every judge is corrupt, she claimed. We can't rely on them. The White House lawyers couldn't believe what they were hearing. That's your argument? A stunned Hershman said. Even the judges we appointed? Are you out of your fucking mind? Powell had more to say. She and Flynn began trashing the FBI as well as the Justice Department under Attorney General Bill Barr, telling Trump that neither of them could be trusted. Both institutions, they said, were corrupt, and Trump needed to fire the leadership and get in new people he could trust. Again, this is a fucking meeting happening in the White House, in the Oval Office. Cipollone, standing his ground amidst the mishmash of conspiracies, said they were totally wrong. He aggressively defended the DOJ and the FBI, saying they had looked into every major claim of fraud that had been reported. Flynn and Powell had long nursed their antipathy to the FBI and Justice Department. Flynn had pled guilty in 2017 to lying to the FBI during the Russia investigation, but withdrew the plea after hiring Powell as his lawyer in June 2019. The two alleged that the FBI had entrapped Flynn and failed to disclose exculpatory evidence known as Brady material, as required by law. They found an ally in Barr, a fierce critic of the Russia investigation, who finally directed the DOJ to drop Flynn's case. Hershman knew that inside the White House as a defender of Barr and the DOJ, went off on Flynn again. Listen, the same people you're trashing, if they didn't produce the Brady material to Sidney, your ass would still be in jail. It was no longer technically true that Flynn would be in jail. He had received a post-election pardon, but Flynn was furious. Don't mention my case, he roared. Hershman responded, where do you think Sidney got this information? Where do you think it came from? It came from the exact people in the Department of Justice that you're saying are corrupt. Greene, wearing jeans and a hoodie and a neck garter, piped up with his own conspiracy. I know how this works. I bribed Hillary Clinton for $18 million on behalf of the FBI for a sting operation. Hershman stared at the eccentric millionaire. What the hell are you talking about? Why would you say something like that? Greene brought up a bizarre Clinton bribery claim several more times during the meeting, to the astonishment of the White House lawyers. Trump, for his part, also seemed perplexed by Greene, but he was not entirely convinced the ideas Powell was presenting were insane. He asked, "You guys are offering me nothing. These guys are at least offering me a chance. They're saying we have evidence. Why not try this?" The president seemed to truly believe the election was stolen, and his overriding sentiment was, "Let's give it a shot." The word martial law was never spoken during the meeting, despite Flynn having raised the idea in an appearance previous on the previous day on Newsmax, a right-wing hive for election conspiracy. But this was a distinction without much of a difference. What Flynn and Powell were proposing amounted to suspending normal laws and mobilizing the U.S. government to seize Dominion voting machines around the country. Powell was arguing that they couldn't get a judge to enforce any subpoena to hand over the voting machines because all judges were corrupt. She and her group repeatedly referred to the National Emergency Act and a Trump executive order from 2018 that was designed to clear the way for the government to sanction foreign actors interfering in U.S. elections. These laws were, in the view of Powell and Flynn and the others, in the key to unlocking extraordinary powers for Trump to stay in office beyond January 20th. Their theory was that because foreign enemies had stolen the election, all bets were off, and Trump could use the full force of the United States government to go after Dominion. It was remarkable that the presidency had deteriorated to such an extent that this fight in the Oval Office between senior White House officials and radical conspiracists was even taking place. "How exactly are you going to do this?" an exasperated Hirschman asked again. Later in the conversation, Newman again cited the 2018 executive order, which prompted Hirschman to question out loud whether she was even a lawyer. Then Breen chimed in, there are guys with big guns and badges who can get these things. Hirschman couldn't believe it. "What are you, 3-year-olds?" he asked. What are you, 3 years old?" he asked. Lyons, the staff secretary, told the president that the executive order Powell and Flynn were citing did not give him the authority that they claimed. It did to seize voting machines. Morgan, the campaign lawyer, also expressed skepticism about their idea of invoking national security emergency powers. To help adjudicate Trump, they patched in a national security advisor, Robert O'Brien, on speakerphone. Trump's personal assistant brought O'Brien into the call with no explanation of what madness would await him. O'Brien said very little in the short time that he was on the call, but intervened at one point to say he saw no evidence to support Powell's notion of declaring a national security emergency to seize voting machines. There was so much fiery crosstalk, it was hard for anyone on the telephone to follow the conversation. Trump expressed skepticism at various points about Powell's theories, but he said, at least she's out there fighting. Yeah, I guess. The discussion shifted from Dominion voting machines to a conversation about appointing Powell as a special counsel inside the government to investigate voter fraud. She wanted a top security clearance and access to confidential voter information. Lyons told Trump he couldn't appoint Powell as a special counsel at the Justice Department because this was an attorney general appointment. Lyons, Cipollone, and Hirschman, in fact, the entire senior White House staff who were aware of this idea, were all vehemently opposed to Powell becoming a special counsel anywhere in the government. By this point, Trump had also patched into the call his personal lawyer, Giuliani, and White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows. Meadows indicated that he was trying to wrap his mind around what exactly Powell's role in this entail. He told Powell what exactly Powell's role would entail. He told Powell she would have to fill out an SF-86 questionnaire before starting as special counsel. This was seen as a delaying tactic. The sense in the room was that Trump might actually greenlight this extraordinary proposal. At its essence, the Powell-Cruz argument to the president was, we have the real information. These people, your White House staff, don't believe in the truth. They're liars and quitters. They're not willing to fight for you because they don't want you to get their hand. They don't want to get their hands dirty. Put us in charge. Let us take control of everything. We'll prove to you that what we're saying is right. We won't quit. We'll fight. We're willing to fight for you, fight for you for the presidency. On some level, this argument was music to Trump's ears. He was desperate. Pal and her team were the only people willing to tell him what he wanted to hear, that a path to stay in power in the White House remained. The Oval Office portion of the meeting had dragged on for nearly 3 hours, creeping by beyond 9 p.m. The arguments became so heated that even Giuliani, still on the phone at one point, told everyone to calm down. One participant later recalled, "When Rudy is the voice of reason, you know the meeting's not going well." True. Giuliani told Trump he was going to come over to the White House. The president, having forgotten the others on the line, hung up and cut multiple people off the call. Herschman, Cipollone, and Lyons left the Oval Office, but soon discovered that the Pal entourage had made their way to the president's residency. They followed them upstairs to the yellow Oval Office room and living room, where they were joined by Giuliani and Meadows. Trump sat beside Pal in armchairs facing the door, separate by a round wooden antique table. Giuliani sat in an armchair to the right, while Breen and Meadows sat in a couch. Breen wolfed down pigs in a blanket and little meatballs on toothpicks the staff had set on the coffee tables. Herschman was primed to brawl and ready to dump on Pal. It had been a long day. "Rudy," he said, turning to Giuliani, "Sidney was just in the Oval telling the president, you don't know what the fuck you're doing." "Right, Sidney?" He turned to Pal. "Why don't you tell Rudy to his face?" "Eric, it's really not appropriate," Trump replied curtly. "What's not appropriate?" Herschman shot back, turning to Pal. He said, "Why don't you repeat to Rudy what you just told to the president in the Oval Office, that he has no idea about the case and that he only just began to understand it a few hours ago?" 3 days later, Giuliani would publicly distance himself from Pal, telling Newsmax that Pal did not represent the president and whatever she was talking about was her own opinion. And that's pretty much it. But yeah, I don't know. Just fucking crazy ass story. The other ones are pretty good too. Yellow chair. I might have gotten a little. I was kind of throwing words together there a little bit at the end. There's a lot of words. Is it fan fiction? I wish it was fan fiction. Unfortunately, that happened in our Oval Office. All of that happened, and it's scary. Yeah. the whole yeah, Sidney Powell is a special counsel. Every judge is corrupt, seizing control with the military, getting all the seizing Dominion voting machines. Like, it's just a fucking nightmare of conspiracy theories, man. And this was, I remember the day that this happened, or the day that they all went to the Oval Office. That was a big deal. And just to think that that was what was going on in the White House Oval Office for 4 hours is all these fucking morons and Patrick Breen arguing over bullshit conspiracy theories about Dominion voting machines is just, I don't know, it's just insanity. Just utter insanity. But, I guess that's just par for the course at this point. Hold on. But yeah, I don't know. Thoughts, comments, concerns? What are we thinking? Kirkland, someone's a Costco fanatic. And I had to Google Yellow Room. It's a room in the second floor of the White House. Yeah. Are they fire? Yeah, and apparently Trump has his own private kitchen up there too. Too many concerns to be expressed here over there. True. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the whole thing. What is shit show? Yeah, there's 3 other parts to that actually. That one's probably the most off the rails, but the other parts are pretty bad too. Just the inside baseball of how, because you would think, I don't know, I guess we don't think that way with Trump, but you would think all the people that, run our government are like these highly sophisticated political animals. But no, for the most part, they're just morons. and that was like a daily basis. Like the first part talks about the meeting they had right before Trump came out and talked when he said like he did win the election on election night. I don't know if you guys remember that, but he came out and he was like, we did win the election. Apparently they all huddled around and Stephen Miller was in the corner and he's like writing a speech on a little pad, and he like wrote a speech for Trump, but then Trump didn't like it, so he just threw it out and he just kind of winged that whole speech he gave on that night. And they told him, they're like, whatever you do, don't say that you won. We don't want to do that right now. Don't say that you won. And then of course he went out and said that he won. You know, just it's a cool, like, you know, inside baseball kind of deal. Read the Bob Woodward books, you'll quickly learn how smart. Yeah, exactly. The Bob Woodward books are good because man, he's got to be a smooth motherfucker, because these people know exactly what he's all about. Like, they know what kind of books he reads, and they just tell this motherfucker everything. Like Steve Bannon, Trump twice. He's gotten Trump twice just to admit all kinds of shit. But Bob Woodward is the reason that Steve Bannon got the boot, because he talked about, he's like, ain't no way that Trump didn't know them jamokes was walking up to his office talking about the Russia people. That was Bob Woodward. They do need to make a movie of this TV. Oh yeah, no, there will be. I'm assuming there will be several movies made about the Trump era, TV show, miniseries, fucking Snapchat show. Like I said, in like 5 years, maybe not even that long with these grifters, but with maybe give it 5 years and we'll start figuring out the really, really juicy stuff. You know, the Ivanka sleeping with Steve Bannon or something, who knows? Or Stephen Miller sleeping with Eric's wife or something. Or Donald Trump sleeping with all of them. Or Donald Trump sleeping with Ivanka. Yeah, YouTube original. Trump's the untold story. Tiger King 2026, yeah. Well, if Trump would have pardoned Joe Exotic, we could have had another Tiger King. Even though Tiger King is clearly a pretty terrible guy. But, I mean, who doesn't like to watch chaos, right? Trump and Hope Hicks, yeah, I'd put money on that. She was a soldier for them, man. She was like she was there through and through. Hope Hicks like kept it, like held it down for the Trump family. Is milk $8? Milk is $8 a gallon in Alaska? Jesus. Yeah, imagine what we don't know. No, the insider baseball is always better. Like even the stuff about, you know, like the 2008 McCain Obama campaign. That there was some juicy stuff about that. Mostly to do with Sarah Palin, but you know, just like the McCain hated her, and you know they didn't get along the whole time, and she basically tried to like take over the campaign. I can't even imagine what the Trump shit show was like. I mean, that was just one meeting, and it was like, oh my God, they tried to take over the government and make Sidney Powell special counsel of something. I haven't seen Tiger King either, and I think, well, oh, I mean, you can always still watch it. I mean, if you've never seen it, you can still definitely watch it. It's good. I mean, it's definitely interesting. I remember watching like right when it came out. I hadn't even heard, like no one had even talked about it yet. I just happened to be like sitting up at night watching Netflix, and it popped on. I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. And then I immediately watched the whole thing. Yeah, I remember when I missed Sarah Palin's level of crazy too, when that was the craziest thing in our government. We're like, oh my God, she doesn't know what the Fed is. Now we're like, please bring back Sarah Palin and George Bush. Like that was the joke. Oh man, whatever happens, we'll never get somebody worse than W. SpongeBob thing. 8 years later. Bam. By the way, if you guys are on Twitch, if you use emojis, they pop up on the screen. Look at that. Or you can use 2 of them. Right, a fancy. Any pornos about her? I doubt that. I hope not. Pikachu. Choose you. Oh, I always go the wrong way. Yeah, that's the emoji wall. The new thing. Oh, Illuminati. Illuminatus. Has Palin commented on Q? You know what? I don't think so. I don't think Palin has. I never heard her talk about it. As far as I know. But, you know, who knows? I mean, I think she's honestly a little more politically savvy than that. But I mean, who knows? You know, it's hard to say. I think there was something else I wanted to show y'all. Maybe that was it. Oh, I know it. Yeah. Well, we'll save that for next time. Save it for next time. She's been kind of quiet, hasn't she? I don't think she's really. I mean, she does like guest spots here and there. You know what I mean? She don't really. She's not really into the political scene anymore as far as like running. I think she'll do a talking head spot here and there, probably do a speech, and that's about it. She'll come out around campaign time and promote, you know, certain candidates. But that's about it. She's not. I think she's happy in Alaska or wherever the fuck she's at, chilling out. I think that's the thing. She is more politically savvy. They just make. Yeah, no, she actually. Sad to say that Sarah Palin's much more politically savvy than the current crop of new Congress people. Even Madison Cawthorn even said something like that. Like he's like, my strategy is not based around policy. You mean like the thing you're fucking here to do? Like that's why they brought you here, dude. Her and Todd got a divorce? I didn't know that. Poor Todd. Was her daughter was the one that was always in hot water, right? She had the kid and they tried to say it was hers. And it turned out to be her daughter's. I remember watching that what is it? HBO's got a good movie about the 2008 race. What was it called? Game Change. That's a good movie. Good political movie. Mm-hmm. She was threatening to run a while back. I guess I missed that. I seen the when Sacha Baron Cohen pranked her. That was pretty funny. Insert Bernie meme. I once again asking you to come. Hang on. Who are you asking to come hang out on Twitch? Are we all hanging out? Well, some of us are. Yeah, by the way, make sure, you know, guys like my streams, follow me on Twitch. At the end of the month, I'm going to move my streams over to that. I'll still be uploading clips and stuff to YouTube, but I'm just going to stream on Twitch. Just because it's easier with everything copyright and like I make literally no money on YouTube from content. I haven't made $1 off content from YouTube. And even though like the media share on Twitch is not really anything with the amount of viewers that I get, but it's still something. Do you drive trucks? I noticed the logo. I used to. I still give lessons and stuff sometimes, and I still drive sometimes. But I was a truck driver for 4 years. I use YouTube because I don't get ads. You don't get ads on Twitch either. You get like one ad. You get one ad at the beginning of a of a stream. You subscribe to my Twitch? All right, awesome. You get one ad at the beginning of a stream, but that's it. Twitch is like much better for like a user too. Like it's just a better platform. The thing that sucks about Twitch is like the discoverability. Like if you weren't looking for me on Twitch, you would never find me. You know what I mean? Because I'm too small of a streamer. But if you're looking for me, like you'll find me. But if you were just like scrolling Twitch, like, oh, let me find a streamer I like, you would never find my content. Very, very rarely. But as far as replaying ads is a thing the streamer can decide to do. Yeah, but I think it automatically shows you one at the beginning, I think, unless you're subscribed. As far as I know. He needs to play some video games. I demand an hour of Animal Crossing. I'm not really much of a gamer. I have an Xbox. I just never use it. The first one is No Choice. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah, that's the only one I have. I think I have on. As far as my controls, that's the only thing I can control. But yeah, no, the one is, like I said, media share is not shit on Twitch either. But I think it's better for like community wise if I just stream on one platform, and then plus like it's less on my computer, like to stream on one platform, and if the only way, and like I sub to some cooking stuff and Driven Progressive on Twitch. I guess there's cooking stuff on Twitch. I don't know. The only people I follow on Twitch is Central Committee, and then like 3 or 4 of my TikTok homies, and then Hassan. I'm subscribed to Hassan, or not subscribed, but I follow him. YouTube has a bit more of a delay. Yeah, I noticed that too. But just like everything, every one of my videos gets copyrighted by YouTube, every single one, and then half the time it'll be 18 plus, and then some of my videos will get struck down. Like my Fall of the Cabal videos got taken down. It's just a pain in the ass, man. And it like, they never put my videos in search. They never send them out to my subscribers. They've got me in a hold right now. Like I'm not in the partner program because they say they need to check my content more. It's just horse shit. So I'm still gonna stay on the platform because obviously, like as a content creator, you have to be on YouTube. But if I can just stream on Twitch, I'd much rather just stream on Twitch just because it's better for like me as a content creator. But then I'm gonna try to start doing now. I think I've figured out like the final formula I want to do is I want to do like one video a day during the day, and then stream kind of like at night, and then do a couple TikToks here and there. So like one regular video stream, and then I'll upload clips from the stream to my YouTube channel plus the one video a day. As a mentally weak person, I wouldn't hesitate to watch Fall of the Cabal. I was going to get stuck. Dude, honestly, it doesn't matter. Like that's one of the lies of the whole QAnon thing is like you don't have. It's not just like dumb people that get or mentally weak people or or you don't have to be like stupid to fall for conspiracy theories. Like there's plenty of extremely smart people that are all in on conspiracy theories. It just happens to be if, you know, you get the right mix of content in front of you before you find other content. You know, if you fall down the rabbit hole and you're not, you know, into a certain kind of content, or you haven't heard other theories before, you can very easily fall into it because it kind of latches onto you and it tells you that everything else is fake and false. So that kind of, it has like this built-in protection. You know what I mean? There's plenty of people that are extremely smart that fell for QAnon. Like that's one of the things where we fuck up when we try to analyze how to help people, is saying, oh, well, these people are just dumb. There's a good website that has written a debunk that I found, Driven Progressive. Yeah, I think I talked to that guy one time. Are you talking about a Fall of the Cabal debunk? Yeah, exactly, Walking Hard. Yeah, the smarter you are, the better you are at convincing yourself of the conspiracy. Yeah, it takes more of a creative thinker to fall for conspiracy. You know what I mean? And those people put in a lot. They put in a lot of work, and that's another reason. Yeah, Fall of the Cabal debunk. They put in a lot of work, and that's another reason why it can be hard to pull them out, is because they put so much into it that even if they start to think, well, maybe this isn't true, they don't want to part with it, because man, they just put like the last 6 months of like 10 hours a day into this shit. They don't want to hear your logic and facts and shit. Like I know we meant, like, obviously you're gonna make fun of these people, like it's just hard not to. It's not gonna happen, but it's not that they're just, you know, it's not like they're just plumb dumb. You know, it's just they got a fucking shit into the social media stick. Well, and it's just like people that are more capable of magical thinking, I guess, too. I don't know. There's a lot to it, but all right, y'all. I think I'm gonna bounce off here. As always, I really appreciate you. And like I said, all my links are down in the description. Follow me on Twitch. If you could like the video on the way out, leave a comment, all that stuff. Well, you can't really leave a comment till the video's up, but just like the video, all that stuff. And like I said, all my social medias are down in the description. I've been posting a lot more on Twitter now, so if you want to follow me on Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff, join the Discord. Because yeah, I'm gonna start doing a lot more stuff with that. And it's growing pretty big. We got about 100 members in the Discord now. So, yeah, it's getting to be a, you know, decent sized community. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Especially all my soldiers and every stream, man. I really appreciate you guys. It is so awesome to have like a community of people that are really digging the vibes. And yeah, awesome. But yeah, thank you guys so much. The last part of the stream is very entertaining. Yeah, no, that's why I saved the best for last. But yeah, thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it. And yeah, see you tomorrow night, probably. If not, I'll at least have a video out tomorrow.